Hi, and welcome to another exciting edition of The Wellness of Being. I'm your host, Brad Poirier. Today we have an exciting guest who's going to share her story. She's a professional broadcast journalist, a speaker, and also a transformation coach. I would like to welcome Fabiana here to the set today. Welcome, Fabiana.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for having me.
So I want to get a little bit into about your story and kind of how it came about, and just kind of some trials, tribulations, things like that. You can take your time and just express, the kind of emotions and things that you had in the telling of your story. If you'd like to just go ahead and let our audience kind of know a little bit about your background and kind of the journey that you've been on.
Sure. So first of all, I'm from Brazil, in case you wonder where my accent comes from, but I've been in Canada for 14 years now. So I was raised in Brazil with great parents who always believed in giving back and contributing to the communities. So you're not from a very wealthy family, but we always saw people who needed more than we did, and I was raised with this feeling of gratitude. So when I moved to Canada, it was my first of all, it was a cultural shock for me, because it was a very different society and cultural. And I tried to get my first job here. I ended up working at Rogers Television. It was my very first job in Canada.
Yes.
But I felt that I had to do something else. I felt there was a call inside me, but I wasn't sure what it was. So I started this journey of personal development. And that's what the time I was faced with my very first challenge of infertility. We were diagnosed with unexplained infertility in my early 30s. And then I think was the first time that I realized there was more to just the body, because they couldn't explain physically what was wrong, why I couldn't get pregnant. So I start researching what else was available. So I think was that time that I really started connecting my emotions, my mental state, and how that could be affecting my physical body.
Because I can imagine it can be very emotional, very, why is this happening to me? Why am I, it's like, even the frustration, here you're young, you want to start a family, and something is putting a roadblock, in your way.
Yeah, and you don't know what that roadblock is, because in my mind before, okay, if you have a problem, what's the solution? But when something's unexplained, how do you find the solution? Where do you even start searching for it? But I was very aware there was something else, so I started exploring that path. I met a naturopath doctor in Canmore, Alberta, and he worked a lot with me on my emotions and what could be holding me back from the emotional and mental standpoint that could be preventing me from getting pregnant. So I think that was like a internal journey that I went in and realized who I was really, what my essence, which negative emotions could be affecting that journey in my life. And I really had to get rid of a lot of garbage and baggage that we carry with us all our lives, memories from childhood that are not necessarily supportive anymore, and they don't have any place in my life right now. But I think it was a time to process all that and let go of all the things that were not serving me. So it was an incredible journey. So I really combined all my fertility treatments in regular clinics with all the IVF procedures that are very invasive. But it was the time that I really started looking inside. And 3 years later, I was very successful. I got pregnant.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
So I had a beautiful boy. And then 2 years later, we were attempting a second pregnancy. And I think that time was the biggest challenge of my life. When I start realizing everything that happened to me in the past, all the path that I've been, all the course that I had taken, all the growth that I have gone through was preparing me for that challenge.
I see.
So I went through again treatments for to get pregnant for the second time. And that second time I was I was pregnant with twins. And one of my twins was diagnosed with a heart condition halfway through my pregnancy, and he passed away. So I had a stillbirth, and the twin Gabriel was born 14 weeks ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
So we were welcomed in this very unwelcoming journey of having a premature baby, spending 5 months in the ICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, and Mount Sinai in Toronto. And I think that really, it was a turning point in my life. And that point is like when you have no control of your situation. The only thing I could do was to control my mind and go back to the journey of infertility. How do I deal with my emotions and how those emotions were affecting my presence in the ICU with my son. So I think I learned the biggest lessons there, and that those are the lessons that I learned today with people that I work with the families I work with my clients.
And I think that is the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is we can't control every little situation, every little person, every circumstance. And I think that's what gets a lot of people, because I think for most of us, we just naturally like to be in control. And when you have something that's out of your hands, same like infertility, like that's out of your hands. You can go for treatments, but it doesn't guarantee, and I imagine they don't offer any, they don't guarantee that if you go for so many sessions that you will have a child, because it may not happen for some person. And I guess with going to Mount Sinai and doing the things and stuff like that, but probably the biggest thing I'm getting out of this was mindset as well, because I think mindset is very important for a lot of this stuff, that it's how you take it, how you take the infertility, how you take the stillborn child, how you take all that. And I think even on the opposite side, being pregnant, I imagine for yourself, as a woman, that it's an emotional experience as well, like that, because now you're connected with another being inside you, that you can probably, I don't know if you can feel the child's emotions, you can feel them there, you feel that first kick, you feel that heartbeat, you see on the screen, and it's like, here's the ultrasound of this child, because for you, that must have been in a moment after trying and nothing, and all of a sudden now you see the ultrasound and like, hey,
It is so true. And I think for me, when I was faced with that challenge, being in ICU, and I as hard as it was, because you do live between life and death 24/7 in ICU, but that feeling that I had being pregnant, it was such an incredible feeling of gratitude, because one day I was told that probably I would not be a mom, because they didn't know what was going on with my body. But the fact that I had a pregnancy, that I had my son, even in that condition in ICU, it really changed my perspective. It put me in that state of gratitude and unconditional love that got me through the 5 months that we were in that situation.
Of course.
And I think it is like, how do I control my mind to stay positive in that environment? Because it's hard.
Yeah, and I imagine you had very challenging days, and you said, is this even worth it? All these trips, doing all this, am I putting out all the money, the time, the effort, the mental anguish? Is it all going to be worth it? Or are we going up there, we're going to keep trying, and then is anything ever going to happen? Maybe nothing's going to happen with me. Maybe my body isn't right to have a child. Maybe I'm not meant to have a child. You probably get all those thoughts too in your head, that, you know what I mean? And it must be that internal battle within yourself that, and sometimes, I know a lot of people say, keep positive, but do you find it challenging that it was maybe at times to keep positive all the time, and that everything's going to be wonderful all the time?
It is. I think that is the biggest challenge, because everybody say, stay positive, and even I caught myself saying to somebody else, stay positive. But some days, how do you stay positive when you're given heartbreaking news, or another cycle of IVF failed? How do you stay positive in those days? But today I can really look back and I say, those are like, you choose.
Of course,
how you're going to look at that situation, because I believe now everything is pretty neutral. It's the meaning that we give to that situation that is going to make it painful or not painful, or happy or unhappy experience. And of course, nobody wants to go through infertility. Nobody wants to get poked with tons of needles. Nobody wants to do any of that. But during that period when I was thinking, what do I really want? And why do I want to be a mom? Because what if I'm not a mom? So I look at my life, how my life would be without a child.
That's right.
And why do I want this child so badly? And I think for me it was I learned to embrace that challenge. I learned to embrace that, yes, I'm having a hard time getting pregnant right now. Why is this happening to me? What is the lesson behind it? What's going to be of my life if I don't have a child 20 years from now?
Right.
And I think it's like a self-evaluation. Why do you really want it? And embrace what is happening, because as you said, I couldn't control it. There was no control of nobody guaranteed that I could be pregnant or not being pregnant. So it is your mental state, and I think that's how we look at the challenge. And I think that is the biggest lesson for me that I try to show the families that I work with. How do we embrace that challenge? Because it's not easy. No challenge is easy.
No, of course not. Of course
but
not.
I think it's part of our growth. And I think when you look at, okay, what is going right? Why is this happening to me? But what is good about it?
Yeah, and and as a woman, do you think not being able to have a child for some would make you feel like less of a woman if you're not able to be a mother? I know there's many ways of being a mother, but I think it's different, and not that if you adopt, you wouldn't love the child just as much, but if you don't have something from your own, did that ever thought come into your mind? Or because it's going to go to the next topic I'm going to talk to you about, which is about female empowerment and things like that as well. Because obviously now with having your let's say, if you label it tragedy, but obviously some good came out of it. But now, since you've experienced that, now you know the joys of joys on the other side. Having beautiful children, and things like that that you're own, that you can take care of, and things like that.
But I think growing up in Brazil,
yes,
I was. My parents really raised me to be a career woman.
Okay.
But always, but being a mom too.
Yes.
Was not one or the other, was one and the other.
Oh, okay, yes.
So I had that thing, I want to be a mom. One day I'm going to be a mom.
Yes.
One day I'm going to be a mom. And then you happen that you're given that news that you can really get pregnant so easily. And that's the time I had to evaluate, do I really want to be a mom, or this is something that was said to me, and I grew up with the fact that I'm a woman, that's what women do.
Yes.
So I had to really understand why I want to be a mom. It was for me. There was nothing to do with the fact that my mom, my whole life, expected to have grandchildren.
Yes.
But it was something for me. Why do I want to be a mom? And I think when I found that answer, say, yes, I do want to be a mom. And no matter for me, I knew I was going to be a mom. Yeah. Even if I had to adopt a child, or in other ways, I want to be a mom. I want to raise a child.
Yeah, and you want to use your maternal instincts.
But I think a lot of women these days, they do make a conscious choice of not having a child.
Yes.
And I think when you make peace with that, and you say, okay, that's what I don't want to be a mom. And I think it's totally fine. I don't think we need to carry on with that pressure just because we're women. No. We have to have a child.
That's right, and everybody has what works for them, and I find more and more people are opting not to have children, or even some women are having children later, much later in life, as well. And I think what works for the individual, what the family is like. And yes, there's a lot of people that are, adopting, and I think it's wonderful that as long as a child has love, has a home, and has, a parent or parents that love that child, will see it grow, see it, fully develop. And that's one other thing too, because I think in your thought process, you basically empowered yourself because you overcame and things like that. So you're showing that how important it is to have self-belief, to empower yourself, and to kind of share that knowledge. So I just want you to talk a little bit more just on empowerment and kind of how to share that and how to pay that forward.
So yes, I always loved work with women, and because I think I went through all that, and I discovered inner strength that I didn't know I had.
Yes.
And I think now I realize, look, I'm older too, so I think it comes with some experience in life too, that yes, we all have that strength in us. Yes. Some of us, the strength comes out of what is considered a tragedy or this life-changing events that are happening to us, but it's always there. It is in there. For many women, I feel that it's like in this sleep form, and you need something to awaken that.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of women these days, like especially the young women that I work with, they want to find that strength. And the reason why I love to work with women, I love to mentor women, is to show them at 20 years old, you have it. Bring it out now. You don't have to wait until you're 40 to discover that, or something to happen in your life to discover that is in you now. So I think it's a change in the mentality and the culture, how we are raised as women. And I think it's changing, but it's a slow change on how it's ingrained in us that we still have to be a mom, and we still have maybe to get married.
That's right.
Right, because in a lot of cultures you still have that.
It's exactly that. When you grow up, well, you're going to go to school, you're going to go to college, you're going to get married, you're going to have, 2 kids, you're going to have a dog, you're going to have a pet, you're going to have a white picket fence.
Right,
you're
the predictable trajectory of life.
That's right,
So that's why sometimes that feeling of strength and empowerment stays in the state of sleep state.
Yes.
And I think we all have the potential to bring it out and to really live like a full life, like a fully alive life.
Yes.
Because we all want it. We're all seeking for something else. We're all seeking to find that purpose, that that call that we have inside us.
Yes.
So we don't. In my belief, when I work with the younger women, you can do it now. You don't have to wait until you're 40 and realize, oh my God, I was in this job my whole life and I really don't like it. And now I want to change careers when I'm 40. No, but don't settle for what you don't want just because.
No, of course. And do people think that just because they're 40, it's too late to change a career? What if I have this? What if I have kids at home? What if I'm just going to give up my passion because, you know what I mean? I believe it's too late for me and things like that. So with the people that you coach, what would be the general age range of women that you work with?
From 20 to 40.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think that's the time the women, the 20 years old, because they're really seeking for their call, their purpose. What am I here for?
Yes.
And the older women, a lot of women who just became moms, because then there is a big conflict. Do I go back to work? Do I stay home mom? Or do I change careers? And I'm very open to share my experience because I changed careers in my life. I had a master's degree in journalism, but I'm going to take my diploma and I'm not going to use my diploma. In the workforce, I use the knowledge that I learned, but to use as a life coach.
Yes.
And now I do a lot of volunteer work for Mount Sinai. I do a lot of peer-to-peer support. And of course, you bring all your knowledge. Changing careers doesn't mean that all the knowledge that you learn is going to go down the drain. You bring with you, and it's totally okay to change careers.
Oh, it is. I can see your passion, and our time has just flew. I thank you so much for coming today, Fabiana. And I want to thank the audience here for watching. I hope you enjoyed Fabiana's story. You may be going through something similar or things like that, and I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. I'm Brad Poirier, the host of The Wellness of Being, here with my guest today, Jessie Morrison. You may have seen Jessie on Body Talk, and she does many other things. So we're going to get right into it and talk to Jessie today. So Jessie, what is your passion?
What is my passion? Oh my God, that is very,
do we have an hour? Do we have an hour?
My passion is to bring people, women especially, because women like to be proactive, to the understanding that pain is not a problem. Pain is not the disease. Pain is a voice. Pain is your soul speaking through your body as the GPS saying, excuse me, I need your attention, hello. So when we get people to that awareness and they start talking to their own body, then they start connecting with their soul and their passion and everything else. So I want to see the world passionate. I want to see everybody alive. I don't want to see people walking around like sheeple anymore.
No.
You know?
And that's exactly it. And just going back to the pain part, because a lot of people think that they have pain, I think pain really isn't the problem. I think it's more an indicator of something else. Do you think the same?
Yes, exactly. It's like if your car is going bing, 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 you've got low oil or something going on, we take it into the shop and look at it.
That's right.
When our body goes bing, 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 we take a Tylenol to stop the pain.
Okay.
We never stop and ask the pain, excuse me, what are you telling me? And it sounds ludicrous to say that because we haven't been raised that way, but you can really pull into the pain and ask, are you anger? Are you anger that I'm not facing? Are you hurt? Are you shame? Are you blame? Is there a decision here that says I can't? Because a lot of people get a pain to stop them from stepping into the transition that they're going through.
But I think for a lot of people too with pain, I mean, I think pain of change or just pain in general, because you have the pain of moving forward, but you also have the pain of staying where you are and things like that. So basically, how would you do this? How would you go about, and I think the concept of listening to your body, number one, is strange for people.
It is.
It's like, never mind listening to thoughts in your head, but now listening to your body too must seem like, okay, you're a little out there.
Well, a lot of people think they're going to be overwhelmed, and they're not. We walk around numb, ignoring our body, and focusing on what school taught us to focus on, things outside of ourselves. But really, when you start listening to your body, the things that are coming at you from outside yourself are not overwhelming. They're just all-encompassing. And actually, when you say we're listening to thoughts in our head, what I teach my clients is to find out which thoughts are theirs and which ones are someone else's. Because we're like, I like to say, we're like a cell phone tower. We're drawing in, we're receiving all these images from TV, satellites, radio, other people's thoughts. We've been taught we're not psychic, but we are.
Oh, of course.
Your skin, actually, these 80 trillion cells of yours pick up everything. You know when somebody's upset, when they're mad, when they're sad, and we try not to. Okay, we try and sort of shield ourselves in this little box. When we do that, that's when everything starts landing on us like sticky paper. And that makes it hard to get rid of. When we expand our energy field out, we allow ourselves to feel lighter. The stuff that isn't ours falls down. It's not ours, so it's kind of heavier. But what people do is they feel something that isn't theirs and think, oh, why am I thinking this? They try and analyze it and they go into that instead of saying, oh, is it mine? You can ask your body, is it mine? And it'll sway backwards ever so lightly. And you'll say, did I just do that? Did I make that up in my head? And it's like, no, your body either sways forward when you like something, it sways backwards if you don't. And we do this all day long. We do this when we go to a party. You know, somebody I've never met and my body just pulls me over there and then we hang out all evening and have this.
And that's the thing, I think unconsciously, and that's a lot, because you've already brought up a lot of great points and things like that, is to say why when you walk into a room, it feels like somebody you've known forever and somebody else, I don't really think I like them. You don't know why.
Stay away.
You've never met them before. You've never seen them before. They've done nothing to you, but yet it's like, why? And I think animals the same. They're very sensitive. Why, when somebody knocks at your door, an animal will be growling, barking, but they seem as nice as pie. And then other times you're like, well, that person is very nice. But the animal, the cat, just jumps right up in their lap, and they're like right there. And because obviously they can read past these things. And you're right. We have all these receptors. We have all these things, but we also have a lot of conditioning, I believe. We have a lot of filters. And I think that's why when we get these things, why am I doing this or I'm doing this, and your body's answering, you I think brush it off initially because you don't know what it is, because then you say, well, I must be crazy, and we don't really have a lot of discernment. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, which stuff is mine and which stuff is stuff from, you know, the environment, so to speak, and that sort of thing as well. So getting into body talk, how do you really tell when it's talking to you? What do you need to look for? And really, because you're the expert, what is body talk?
Okay, body talk is actually a modality that's in about 36 different countries around the world. It's huge. It was originally created by a chiropractor named John Veltheim. And John was going into Africa and various places where they couldn't afford pharmaceuticals and things. And he needed to know how to deal with these people. Now, they already work on an intuitive level. So using muscle testing, you can ask the body, is there a virus, is there bacteria, is there a parasite, what's going on in the body that needs to be repaired? And so he's built this system over the last 20 years, and he's brought in osteopaths and other specialists and everything. So really he's taking all the medical models from around the world and homogenizing them into one system.
I see.
There's about 20 different levels. I think it took me 20 years to go through all the different levels. But the main difference is, instead of you saying, okay, you've come in with all these symptoms, we're going to try this. If that doesn't work, we're going to try that. If that doesn't work, we're going to try this.
Go to the next.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We ask the body, is there a priority here that you need us to fix? So if somebody comes to me with diabetes, the body never says to me, I have diabetes. It doesn't look at labels. It doesn't say I have fibromyalgia, I have arthritis. It just says, excuse me, my pancreas isn't getting enough insulin from when I ingest food, my liver isn't sending me blood flow, I need to, I feel like Lily Tomlin. Do you remember when she played Ernestine, the support operator?
Yes, I love it.
You want to talk to who? Let me connect you. And that's how I feel. If we have a fall, if we fall over handlebars, using the diabetic again, when he was 6 years old, this client of mine had hit a stone. He went ass over tea kettle over his handlebars. It impacted his spleen. It pushed the spleen. Okay, which you can't see on x-rays or anything like this is saying it shouldn't be there.
That's right.
You don't have a before and after picture. But because of that, the way it twisted, it wasn't getting blood flow, working with the sugar, digesting things. He had all kinds of allergies, and he came to see me for diabetes. But we cleared the allergies first because we had to get the spleen back into the proper position, untangle it, unwind it, let it know that it wasn't alone, that it could talk to the liver, and so it's really fascinating how it happens.
Yeah, and exactly, and I think some would just go for, I have diabetes, okay, let's just treat that.
Yeah.
And then of course you're treating the diabetes now, but then you're not treating the spleen, you're not treating all the other stuff.
So you always have diabetes. You haven't gone to the cause.
No.
It's like menopause. So many women will take black goulash or walnut and things for menopause. What I have found most often is that they have bumped their head somewhere in their lifetime on the side of the car door or stepping up in the kitchen, and the brain is a whole bunch of little lobes. It's not solid the way we think of it as Halloween. So if 1 micromillimeter is stuck under a micromillimeter, all of a sudden half your brain is exhaling and inhaling. So you're not pushing things, which means the pituitary gland, which sits on this little rocking chair, isn't pumping the right amount of hormones out. So then I ask the body, how do I fix this? What is it that I know how to do? And quite often it's just using your fingers as acupuncture needles. We just tap a different spot. Sometimes it's the upper palate gets jammed there. Sometimes it's the 12,000 pain receptors here. Sometimes it's a spot. It's so interesting how the body says, I need this fixed, I need that fixed when I do this, and all of a sudden they don't have diabetes.
Yes.
But we weren't looking at diabetes, we were looking at menopause. You know?
That's right, yeah.
When the body fixes anything, it starts this chain reaction that fixes everything.
I see, yeah. So with this tapping, is it a general tapping or is it like an EFT tapping?
We can use EFT tapping. EFT tapping is absolutely profound because you're working on the Chinese meridian system. I would say every session I do is individual for that person.
I see.
So one person may need me to tap inside the mouth. One person may need me to hold here and then tap. It tells me exactly where to go.
I see.
So yeah, it's everybody. It's tailor-made for everybody.
Perfect.
Like we have these overviews. You have fibromyalgia. You have MS. These are labels, and they have symptoms that are similar. But the reason we got those symptoms is never similar.
No.
I had one woman who was electrocuted when she was 6 years old. They had a dog fence and she touched it and she was electrocuted. Didn't look like anything happened to her, but really all her circuits were fried.
Of course.
She had fibromyalgia for the rest of her life until I met her. And then we started rebooting the electrical system.
And just taking those little, and getting everything aligned and stuff like that. So with the muscle testing, can anyone be a candidate for muscle testing, or is there someone who doesn't?
I've never met anybody who doesn't. It's funny, I will get police officers and RCMP officers and things who come in and they want to prove it doesn't work.
Okay, sure.
Their logical mind is going, no, this doesn't work. But because muscle testing uses your ability to be strong or weak, they can't fake it. You can say, I'm going to say no to this, and the body still, the muscle, and they're fascinated.
So with muscle testing, would it also have anything to do with mindset, though? Like if I said, okay, so if you use me for an example, and I said, I'm not going to let her move my arm.
But then we can see how you armor your body or how you position.
So I'm going to compensate with my body for that? Okay, that'd be interesting. So what exactly is muscle testing for the audience here that doesn't know? Can you show us?
Yes, we call it muscle testing. It has nothing to do with muscle strength.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
It really is about being congruent with your authentic self.
Okay,
I like to say the body is the GPS between the soul and the mind, and our mind has been structured to think it's the boss. It's not. Your soul is the boss.
Okay, yes.
This energy that flows through you and through all your cells will give us this yes, no. Let's try for a second. Just hold your arm up like this. So I'm just going to ask, body, show me what a yes looks like. Perfect. Body, show me what a no looks like. Oh, are we compensating? Can you put your other arm down for a sec? Body, show me a no. That's a little bit lower. Body, show me a yes. Okay, so that's where you're authentic. Yeah, you don't have to do. You're not
I wasn't doing anything. No, I didn't feel anything at all.
And when I do it, people are on a massage table, so their hand is over their tummy like this, and it just flips.
And it just naturally goes.
Okay, well, let's use the example of a lot of people are into affirmations or positive thinking, okay? You can say affirmations forever, but you're only dealing with what I call the walnut, okay? That conscious part of your mind that's trying to change things.
Yes.
When you are integrating it into your mind and body and soul, it's a totally different thing.
Okay, yes.
So do you have an affirmation you like to say?
Mm.
How about I'm an important part of the divine plan?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, that suits you, okay? So put your arm up again, and now look straight ahead over here, and just say, I'm an important part of the divine plan.
Okay. I'm an important part of the divine plan.
Oh, you don't believe it 100%. That's okay. I want you to look up to the upper left-hand corner, the left side. That's it. And keep your head straight again. And you're just sort of rolling your eyes into your brain and saying, I'm an important part of the divine plan.
I'm an important part of the divine plan.
Relax your arm again. Say it again.
Okay. I'm an important part of the divine plan.
That's pretty strong. Your conscious mind already knows that. That's awesome. Looking up to the right-hand side.
Okay.
So again, head looking straight and look up.
Yeah.
I'm an important part of the divine plan.
I'm an important part of the divine plan.
Now, can you, I don't know if the camera caught that, but you are so much stronger when you're speaking to your unconscious mind and your soul. For a lot of people, the nose will be like this because they're not buying into it. So I ask, in the future, is this true for you? In your conscious mind, is this true for you? And usually it's the conscious mind that says, what the F are you talking about?
Of course.
But the soul comes through and says, this is the message I need to feed the body.
Of course, because I know with my own arm, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't moving it, I wasn't trying to hold it, and you would see if I was stiff and say, okay, I'm going to make sure that I look like I really believe it. You know what I mean? But as I say, you could really tell.
Organs have to have belief systems as well. Okay, so if the pancreas didn't believe that they were an important part of the divine plan, and I don't just mean in a universal level, but if they didn't believe that they were a team member, then you would have diabetes.
I see.
Or you would have, what's the other, where people, they use up their blood sugars very quickly and they start fainting?
Oh, okay.
High blood pressure is the same.
Yeah.
High blood pressure comes from when you feel your territory is being invaded. Well, that could happen when you get married, it could happen when you get a new job, it could happen when you're downsized.
Yes.
But when we give you blood pressure pills, that doesn't change the condition. We need to ask the body, okay, how can I make this different? Where are you not feeling safe?
Yes.
Where are you not feeling accepted? Where are you, usually there's 3 questions, I've forgotten the other one. Safe, in control.
Okay, yes.
Big one.
Yeah.
And we've been taught as humans, we have to control our destiny. And really, the more we try to control, the smaller our world gets.
Yes.
We don't use all of our resources to expand out and draw in from the universe. So it's fascinating. And then the other question I ask people, if they say, yes, it's making me safe, yes, it's protecting me, I say, is it helping you have new opportunities?
Okay.
And I'm always looking for a way to talk to the unconscious mind to show it that there's more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How many sessions would somebody need? Is one enough, or do they need a continuation?
Well, after one session, people usually feel fantastic.
Oh,
okay, really, really good.
Well, I'm already good to know. I'm already like, I'm like, right?
Well, we can see if we can get you fully congruent with something too. But I would say in order to change, like years and years of history and neurology and limited thinking, it takes 5, it takes 10, depending on what we're fixing.
Yeah.
Usually I find when people have worked with me 5 times and we've cleared the main issue and some of the other things, they'll come back every month because life keeps happening to you.
Yes, of course.
You know, so I call it energetic hygiene. We are looking at allowing you to integrate this so that it's unconscious. Like I can tell you to check your thoughts every 20 minutes. Is this my thought? When I'm sad, is this my thought? But unless you are actively doing it, then I have to work with you to see that, you know, did you ask this? And they'll always go, oh my God, I didn't. I should have. I'm not using my tools. And it's about giving you the tools so that you can use them for yourself.
Yes. So why do people get stuck in pain? Normally?
Because they're not listening.
Okay.
I have a little anagram. Pain means pay attention inwards now.
Oh, okay. Yes.
If you're in pain anywhere, that means that part of your body, if it's a stiff neck or sore elbow, whatever the disease label is, it means that part of you isn't in sync with the rest of you. Okay. Okay. If you've ever read the book Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins, he has measured the different what do they call it? Megahertz, electrical impulses of the different emotions. Rage, shame, wanting, and waiting for something is like death. Okay? If you've ever had a job interview, you want to know if you're going to get it, you hold your breath for the 3 weeks until you hear from them.
That's right.
You can't function, you can't think, you can't do anything new. So that's the lowest of lowest energy. Love and above is very, very high.
Yes.
Okay, so there's passion in between. I use the energy of courage as a pivotal point. Okay, courage can either go up to encouragement or it can go down to discouraged.
Discouraged.
Discouraged becomes a spiral and you go down. But encouraged gives you that hopefulness, that ability to see more,
the love, everything, everything raises.
It's like being in a helium balloon, and that helium is filled and raises you up. So, what was the question again? I went off on a tangent.
It's okay. So why do people get stuck in pain? Yep.
Okay, so that part of your body is not part of the helium balloon that you are.
Oh,
it's incongruent.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean it's bad, or it doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. It means that it's talking to you, and we need to listen. Because it might be taking you into the transitional gateway to create a change in your life.
Yes.
It's like people think of anger as being bad, because people take a machine gun and shoot everybody down.
That's right.
Anger is your body's ability, your energy to take potential, to build that so that you can make a change.
Yes.
And people think, oh, I'm angry, what's wrong with me? I shouldn't be angry. Because as children we were taught, if you're angry, it's going to vibrate your parents' anger, which they've suppressed and buried, because they're not allowed to be angry and show they're angry.
No.
And they don't like that, so they tell you to stop it.
Yes.
And because we want to please our parents, we stop it. But it's still there. And this is where anxiety comes from.
Oh, exactly.
It's that vibrating energy to create a change, and people think, what's wrong with me? And that's like an antidepressant and anxiety.
Exactly, and we always want to be up and away. I mean, our time has gone so fast, Jessie.
Are we?
I know. We could talk on and on and on, but because you have so much knowledge, and I know even with my arm, and I just learned something today as well, but I just want to say thank you, and you know, people should definitely check you out and stuff like that. I want to thank you for joining us here. So after the break, we have Tony. He's going to talk about his journey about feeling fully alive, and I'll see you back after the break. Hi, and welcome back to The Wellness of Being. I'm Brad Poirier, your host. Now we have Tony. Tony is a Canadian author, entrepreneur, alternative health practitioner, a coach, and also a public speaker. What began as a journey to reclaim his passion and purpose after suffering along a near devastating personal loss and later having a health crash has grown Tony stronger in commitment and for others to reclaim their health. Now, Tony has written a book. I'll show you on the monitor here. It's called Rejuvenate You. And we're going to journey with Tony through his book, and he's going to tell about his personal triumphs, trials, and his personal journey and his story. So welcome, Tony, to the show.
Thanks, Brad.
So let's get right into your book here. So with Rejuvenate You, can you kind of take me through a little bit of the chapters and how you got to the story? Maybe let's just start a little bit with a little bit of your background.
Sure. Well, right out of school, I joined a marketing firm, and I had been a really shy person, but this was the first thing I found that I really loved and was passionate about. And I really put myself into it. I worked really long hours, and I sort of thought I was invincible.
Okay,
You know, my mom told me things, my wife told me things, my doctor told me things, but I was working 7 days a week, you know. And I found that I stopped exercising. I just ate junk food all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep much.
Exactly, you're invincible, right?
That's right. And I think I see that a lot with some of the younger people that I see these days, and part of the reason for this book, part of it is that it is a warning to people that you got to take care of yourselves. So basically I really lowered my immune system.
Okay.
I got to the point where I was sick all the time. I had a joke that if someone was sick and they even looked at me or called me over the phone, I would catch that. I was in at the doctor's all the time getting antibiotics after antibiotics. And he warned me. He said, you got to take care of yourself. And I didn't really listen. I just said, I've got a big conference on Monday. You got to, you know, I need these. I got to get ready.
That's right. And you're doing what you needed to do at that time. And probably, too, if you're not really eating healthy, you're not hydrating properly, you know what I mean? You said, you know, exercise, see you later, you know, for the time being and stuff like that. Because you're invincible, as you say, a lot of times, and that's what a lot of us, I think, believe that, you know, eating the junk food's okay because it's fine, I'll work out later. You know, if I don't have a drink now, I'll drink when I get home. If I don't do this, later it'll be fine. So going again with like different health issues and stuff like that, what mainly were you experiencing during those health issues?
Well, I was tired. I started to really lose my zest. I mean, I was in a job I loved. I was really good at it. I mean, it was fun. I was making good money.
Yes.
But I was just starting to get worn out. And at that point, then we decided to start a family, my wife and I.
Yes.
And so that was very exciting, and our daughter Samantha was born. But then the nurses noticed something was off with her breathing. And whatever, I thought, okay, whatever. Yeah. But a week later, she passed away. And so my wife changed her careers and became a nurse.
Okay.
And so she's really giving back to people. And what I did was I hardly took any time off. I just went back to work.
Okay.
And we did really well. I mean, I got a nice promotion. Our office was #1 in the country. But I kept working longer hours. I didn't switch anything I was doing.
No.
And I woke up one morning and I was just burnt out. I had nothing left. I was an overweight guy. I was constantly sick. At that point, I had a 2-year-old daughter.
Okay,
and we got pregnant again the next year, and thank the Lord, she came out and she was breathing right. But I realized I had a 2-year-old daughter who I didn't really know. I hadn't seen my wife much. I was like, crap, and I thought, there's got to be more to life than this.
Of course. I mean, and a lot of people think, well, probably for you too, I'm working really hard, I'm working all these hours, I'm getting up the corporate ladder. Yes, I'm making good money, but it has to, something's got to give. So where it is, yes, I'm up the ladder, I'm making more money to support my family, but I'm not actually with my family or seeing my family. And probably on their side too, they're probably thinking, wow, Tony's gone all the time. He's not really spending time with us. And in your mind, I'm doing everything I can so they can have a great life. You know?
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. And as I say, I see that a lot in the world today. But what I've realized is that if I had just lived my life with a little more balance, I could have still been in that job. I remember when I called my manager and I said, you know, I gotta stop. And he tried to talk me out of it. He tried to say, just take a couple of months off. I mean, you've been through a lot. You lost a daughter. You've been sick. Just take some time. And I had no energy. I had nothing. I said, I'm done. So, but if I could go back in time, you know, that is something, if I could have done it differently, I would have still been there. Now, I can't complain because life's become really good and it's taught me a great lesson. But I think my message for people is that you don't have to give it up.
No.
You can still have an amazing career and do what you want. But if you just take care of yourself a little bit, the story could be very different. So that's what my book is about. That was 20 years ago. So these are all the lessons that I've learned. And the reason I wrote it, one was for a warning to people, just take care of yourselves and you can do these things. But the more importantly, it's for people who have woken up one morning as I did. And I mean, I remembered, what was it like to laugh? Like I used to ask my wife, what was I like when you first met me? I mean, I used to play the guitar, right?
Of course, yeah.
Used to go, and I see that with people. So if you've ever woken up and you've wondered, where did my passion go? You know, what is my purpose? If you ever wanted to jump out of bed, just jump out and feel alive.
Yeah.
That's what these tips can do for you. They're real life.
Yes.
I've learned them the hard way. I want to save people the 20-year learning curve that I had to go through. And already I've gotten some really amazing stories from people that have read it. So it's been very rewarding, and it's been a healing process for me in writing this and getting this out to people.
Yeah, it's wonderful, because I think as far as, you know, as I say, feeling fully alive, most people, when that alarm goes, I mean, instead of wanting to jump out of bed and being, you know, vital and lively and whatever, they just want to slam that alarm clock and hit it. Put it on snooze, put it on snooze again, put it on snooze again. But then are you really fully living life if you want to sleep through most of it, or you're only existing? And I think too, with being fully alive again, is when you have that vitality, and same, going back to the beginning when you were together, obviously I don't think most people would say, wow, I really love that guy, he's a workaholic, I never see him, he's a perfect husband for me. You know what I mean? So basically, we want to say, if you used to play an instrument, or you used to sing, or you used to laugh, or you have a lot of fun, there's that vitality, that inner child that's there, where a lot of times over time I think we lose it because we think, now I'm becoming more of an adult, I'm becoming more responsible, so basically I have to be the one who's a breadwinner, I have to be the one who, you know, brings in the money, I have to not have as much fun because I have to be a great employee, I have to be this, I have to be that. So I think over time your title changes, your hats change, and things like that, which I think your book opens up a whole new mindset, so to speak, that when people read this, I think some more light bulbs will go off and they can say, okay, I don't have to live in the state I'm in. I can start to have fun again. I can start to be, you know, because obviously you're getting the comments from the reviews of your book, you know what I mean? And I'll show people again, it's Rejuvenate You. So basically here, how to reconnect with your passion and purpose. So with this book, inside, Tony's going to, and we're going to go a little bit deeper and go through some of the chapters, and I'm going to have Tony kind of take some points from the book and share with you, and things like that that people can do, so they can kind of change their lives and know. And even though this book is around almost 150 pages, it's probably packed with a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, a lot of life experience from yourself that shows that, hey, I've been through this, hey, I'm on a journey, and I'm going to share this journey with you. So where did this passion come, where you said yourself, Tony, I have to write this book, and now is the time?
Well, I'd known I'd been sort of unhappy and searching, you know, so after marketing, I became a financial planner. Again, I enjoyed it. I love working with my clients. Very rewarding, you know.
Yes.
Met some amazing people, but I also knew that there was something missing, and as I thought more about it, I thought, I have to get this out. I have to let people know, you know, what happened to me, the depression I went through, things like that, so that they know that they're not alone. And I call it, sometimes people become like zombie eyes.
Of course.
They walk around without passion, just sort of
existing,
doing that. And so the book is written into little chapters.
Okay. Yeah.
With each with a specific purpose, a specific topic, and then there's some exercises at the end and some questions at the end that people can go through and answer, and it really gets their brain stimulated and encourages them to sort of think outside the box and think about, you know, how they used to be and what they would like to be. One of the main points of it is reconnecting with your purpose and with your passion.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we forget why we're doing things. And if you can just reconnect with the why you're doing it, then you'll get a lot more out of it. An example I use is, I've coached youth sports for 20 years.
Okay, yes.
And I got an opportunity to coach a team that, let's say, they're great kids, but some of the other teams were a little more athletic in basketball. And so they played their hearts out, but we weren't winning games.
Okay.
And you could see them start to lose their zest, their steam, because it was all about winning or losing. Somewhere along the line, because they had started off just wanting to play, just the love of exerting, competing, challenging themselves. And somewhere along the line, and these were older kids, it became more about winning or losing.
Yes.
So what happens if you give everything you have, you play till the final whistle, but you still can't pull it off? What happens if you can't get that win? So we sat down and I held a meeting, and I said, we have to establish, why are we playing? Why are you playing? Why are you here? Yes. And it was a great meeting. And I'd love to say that we turned the season around and blew and won the championship, but we didn't. But everybody had fun.
Of course.
And they said they learned a lesson. And so that's why I challenge people to ask yourself, what is it? Why are you doing it? What do you love to do? When I look back, and so in here, one of the exercises you should do is think back and write down, and I encourage people to journal.
Okay, yeah.
On white paper with blue ink. Don't, you know, you can use your computer if you want, but I've always find I connect better if I do it on
if you actually handwritten
with paper. And then you can store it in your computer so you don't lose it, but doing it on paper is great if you can. So when I look back at myself, and I listed all the examples of times I'd felt most fully alive, it was when I was helping someone in some way.
Yes.
And I remember I was driving home one day, and I was feeling very lethargic, and I wondered why, and it was because I didn't have my purpose at the top of my mind.
Okay.
So I encourage people to have it written down and find out what it is, and have it with you at the top of your mind all the time. So all I had to do was sort of refresh myself. The times that I wasn't really that interested, it was like if I was too focused on trying to win a contest or trying to do something else, instead of just sitting down with my clients, with my patients one-on-one, and just really trying to help them. And the moment that came, it didn't matter what I was doing, I felt really alive. So that's one of the things, is connecting with your passion and your purpose.
And I think that's what it is. It's all about being in the moment, being present, being mindful, I think, is a lot of it. And as I say, like you said before, a lot of people are just zombies. They're just there, they just exist, they go around, they put in their time, they show their face, but behind the stare is just vacant. You know what I mean? They have nothing. What would you suggest for somebody who has no purpose? Do you have something or a little bit of advice, like how to find it?
Well, I mean, definitely in the book, that's what the book is all about. Like all the exercises that I go through, we'll walk them through, whether they even realize that's what it's doing or not. It'll walk them through, getting them to think, and then it will reawaken their mind. So one of the things I encourage people to do, for example, is to say yes more often. For example, when I was in university, where I met my wife, we went dancing all the time. All the time. And then now it's just like twist my arm behind my back and drag me out to dance one song at a wedding. It's because I'm like, well, what will people think about how I dance? And ultimately, what does it matter? So you gotta just not be afraid to say yes anymore. But on the other hand, you gotta be able to say no sometimes. I know, so I coach, as I said, I coach youth sports. A lot of families these days, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. Of course, all the kids want to do something, so they're driving their kids to dance, to basketball, they're volunteering, they're working, their aunt's sick, they have to stop by the hospital, and you can get overwhelmed, and everybody is pulling at you, and that drains you, whether or not you even realize it. So one of the things to rejuvenate yourself is saying yes sometimes, but also one of the things is saying no sometimes.
No, and I think that's very important, is setting boundaries. And I think for a lot of people, once you set your boundaries and say, yes, I'll embrace this new opportunity, or no, this is beyond my limit because I have 4 kids, I got to take them to all different sports games, I can't add in an extra thing, or I can't add in this where you're going to stress yourself out. And I think that's what happens too. A lot of people are spread so thin that they no longer are themselves. They're just, I'm in this direction, this direction, this direction, and they basically, after a while, just kind of, I think, lose themselves just in all the stuff, as opposed to, you know, being in the moment and saying, yes, I'm going to do this for me, yes, I'm going to follow my passion, follow my heart, and wherever that takes me, and if all this other stuff is in alignment with that, you know, then that's fine. If it's not in alignment with that, I'll get rid of what no longer serves me, sort of thing. So what I'm going to have you do now is, I notice you have a little piece of paper in your book there. I'll get you to take the book and just kind of maybe read that section or whatever you've kind of, blocked off for us there.
Okay. Well, in the book, there's lots of things. One of the things is a chart of. It kind of helps me figure out when I'm not feeling well, because I find that a lot of people don't even know that they're down. So one of the things in here, I won't read this part, but just so you know.
Sure, yeah.
And you can get it on my website, a copy. It's a chart that will help you identify what are things you do when you're feeling great, what are things you're doing when you're not feeling great. For example, when I'm feeling great, I go out more, I talk to people. When I'm not feeling great, I isolate myself more, and
much more withdrawn.
I spend more time by myself. So that's something I think that people are great. But I just wanted to read just one paragraph from my wrap up.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
You know, some of the mentors that I've had, people like Tony Robbins and Sam, you know, they're great motivators, but also, you know, they make you dig deep inside, and they care about you. So part of the book, I want to help motivate people, and I want them to, you know, get inspired. So I just say, you know, remember, you are important, that your life has great value, and you're meant to feel joy. It's not normal to not feel wonder and passion. It's not normal to not feel wonder and passion. And I know that's something I went through. I was feeling nothing, but that's not normal. You're meant to feel alive. You're meant to feel fully alive, and it is within you, and you can reignite it, and you can do this. So one of the things that I'd like to be is I'd like to be there for people if they have any questions. So that was part one. I wrote the book, I put it out there. I have the website where I blog, I post different things that can help people reconnect. I'll be running workshops. I'll have a sort of a system that people can do that can give them sort of exercises. Because I know that some people enjoy reading, some people
no, not at all.
don't enjoy reading at all. People have asked me to put it on audiobook.
Yeah, exactly. I want to thank you, Tony. Our time is just just flew by.
Is that it?
It went so fast, and you're right, we can do it, and you can do it too. I want to thank you for joining me, Brad Poirier, your host, on the Wellness of Being, and I want to say thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.